Hello everyone. Welcome to ArtTown podcast series or ATPS as we like to call it. Every week on Friday we feature art and design professionals who take us through their journey in this fascinating world of art. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook and Spotify, and with that let's continue with the show and dive deep into the ocean of art. Today we have with us Kartik Wat, who expresses himself through the art of photography. He is a data scientist by mind and a wildlife photographer at heart. He is an avid reader and has been on numerous adventurous treks. He has worked with renowned brands like National Geography and Lonely Planet UK. So let's continue with our conversation on the technical and intellectual aspects of photography and get to know his journey from an aspiring photographer to a professional one. Thanks, Kartik, for joining us. It's our pleasure to host you on this show. Before starting our conversation about photography, ask you how are you and how is this lockdown treating you?
Well, lockdown, initial 1 month, I enjoyed a lot. Like I never used to, I never got a, so before lockdown, I was in London. I came back and then I was already away for 1 year. First month, I enjoyed a lot. But after second month onwards, things started getting monotonous and then routine, wake up, work from home, and then sleep. Nothing more than that. So those 2 3 months were really boring and then sluggish. But now things have again started going back to normal to some sense.
I hope you and your family are doing well in this lockdown. Considering that you are a travel photographer, how did you pursue photography during this lockdown period when everybody was expected to sit at home and not step outside?
Right. So I personally didn't do any travel related photography as such, but we have a garden, so there mostly we were doing some experiments with those creative different angle shots. You would have seen photos like the rubber bubble like bursting shots, those trick shots, and from a different perspective, mostly sunsets and then some flowers and then local garden animals. So I'm doing that. Nothing much. One thing with what I'm doing is like I do have a lot of photos which I never posted on Instagram. So I thought of just going back to them, just see them again and then select couple of photos and then post it and then build story out of it, like which I thought that I should have posted earlier. So that is how I'm going on. So from a travel point of view, I would say uh, it's like again going back to your travel memories and then uh, posting it on the social media. So that's how going on from a travel photography point of view.
So,
Mm-hmm.
what made you inclined towards photography? When was the first time you just held a camera and clicked a photo and realized, oh, I know photography and I think I should pursue it?
I'm born in Pune. Then, because of my father's work, we moved back to Amravati. So Amravati is my hometown now. So my mom, she's from Pune. So every summer vacations we used to travel to Pune and then travel to Konkan, and then we have covered almost all forts built by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So during those travel vacations or summer vacations, my father used to click photos using Yashica film camera. So that is the first time I saw a camera, or you can say that is the first thing where I got introduced to photography. And in that Yashica camera, I still remember it's a film camera, but still that film camera had that close-up option available. So my father taught me that if you turn this close-up mode on, then your portraits will be like amazing. These days a lot of smartphones they have this called smart blur thing embedded in the camera app. So it was something similar in that film camera. So that was really fascinating. And then I always used to have that excitement, like when we are going back and when we are developing those photos and then see how they have come up. That is how I started photography. And then after that, I joined one NGO in Amravati, that is Nature Conservation Society, that is started and run by Mr. Kishore Rithe. So every winter, they used to organize nature camps, like nature in Milghat. So I used to attend those camps, and there I met a lot of people, a lot of wildlife researchers who used to carry binoculars and cameras. Or that thing introduced me to wildlife photography, and then I started exploring this photography, particularly a wildlife photography. After that, I volunteered for a remote free medical health checkup program for tribals. So through that program, I got to travel a lot. So that's how I developed this wildlife photography thing. And to answer your question, like what was my first camera? It was Sony DSC HX50. I bought that camera in 10th after getting some good, really good marks in 10th. So that was kind of a deal between me and my father. So yeah,
Yeah. So sounds like your father was the inspiration behind.
either he or the way he used to click, or with such an enthusiasm he used to click those pictures. And be very frank, right now today even we go back to those album and we check our childhood photographs, so those memories we just relive those memories, you can say.
Working for Nagio is a dream job for most of the travelers and wildlife lovers.
Yeah.
So, how did you get from being an aspiring photographer to a professional one who is actually doing it for the full time? That
Mhm.
too for renowned brand like Nagio.
So along as I told, like this nature camps and all these things happened in my childhood. So these things, they kind of shape of what I am today in a photography field. It was always there somewhere in the mind that yes, someday I want my photograph to be published to an Agio or Discovery or something. But when I started this photography, it wasn't the only intentions. Like this is like I want my photographs to be on an Agio. Like when I used to click any photo or go on an assignment, so only thing I used to have in mind was I want to click this, and I want to click this from my own perspective. That's it, nothing else. So these things started shaping the career. Then I joined IT, and there I met a lot of friends with a similar interest in photography. Then we made a group, and then that's how we started getting commercial assignments. I'm not talking about the wildlife commercial assignment, but that was again a part of the journey, so I'm just covering it. Then I moved to London, and then there I got to know more about like how you publish these photos or submit these photos to National Geographic. So I got to know about the Your Shot photographer, and then it became my routine. Like whatever I am clicking, write a story, and then find out a particular theme which is there on an Agio portal and just upload it. Not because I wanted to have it published, but having your portfolio on an Agio, let's say tomorrow if somebody comes up and then say, okay, what kind of work you have done till now. So I would just give them, rather than giving my Instagram handle, I would just give them my National Geographic Your Shot portfolio, and then they used to be like, wow, like you have some really good shots. So that's how, luckily, David Lee, National Geographic producer, so he found my photography really interesting for the assignment called Follow the Light. And yeah, I wouldn't say like I didn't really chase National Geographic, it just happened. And then after National Geographic, Lonely Planet UK, and then Nat Geo Traveler India, and a couple of other publications.
Your website shows that you have been on numerous treks and you have traveled
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
Yep.
So, which one of those treks or any destination that has been most adventurous and closest to your heart?
My Chadar trek experience. So I did this Chadar trek in 2017. So Chadar means a frozen river, like from a literal meaning you can say it's like a chadar on top of a river, like ice chadar on top of a river. There is a valley called Zanskar Valley in Ladakh region, and this trek happens in winter. So you can imagine the temperature in winter, that too in Ladakh area. Temperature inside that valley or in the valley, it goes till minus 40 to 45 degrees Celsius. So this trek is basically to trek. You reach to Ladakh, you travel to Zanskar, you get down on the frozen river, and then you camp there. And it's a 110-kilometer trek, and you need to trek, or you can say do a penguin walk thing on a frozen Chadar river for next 7 to 8 days to reach final destination, that is Nerak waterfall. So it's a beautiful 70 feet waterfall, and the whole waterfall is like completely frozen waterfall. that was the craziest experience. And the thing that coming back to the to answer your the dangerous part in the trek, when we reached Nerak, so it started snowing. Whenever there is a snow on a frozen Chadar river, the snow acts as a air trap. So that snow traps the warmer air present in the atmosphere, and then it starts melting that Chadar faster. So you can imagine the Chadar is melting from the top as well as from the bottom. So at that point you can imagine, like, we are on the frozen Chadar river. On the both side we have like 90-degree steep valley, and there is a snow, and the Chadar is melting really fast, and then we have no option left but just to trek continuously for almost 20 or 22 hours. So we did that, like we did a night trek on a frozen river, and then we reached to a base camp, and that was really dangerous from one point, because if the chadar breaks, then you will literally disappear in the river, and then you're dead. So and that too in a minus 35.
Oh, that sounds really dangerous, but it also sounds exciting at the same time. Whenever you go to any such kind of treks, any such so adventurous and so dangerous treks, what all are the essentials that you carry with you on your travel?
Right. So we always carry first aid, like first aid kit and a lot of bandages. Then second thing is GPS tracker in case we lose a track of direction. Like, so GPS and a compass that will help us to guide. And then you always carry a map of a place to which you are going, because on map you will always have a directions and a coordinate. So you can, using help of your GPS, you can again always track back. And then second thing is the most important thing is, like, whenever you're going for such trek, do make sure that you are registering yourself or notifying the local trekking authority and tell them that this is your plan, you're going to this places. So in case you don't come back because of any reason and you're late by, let's say, 1 or 2 days, so they will immediately start searching for you, and then immediately start the rescue operation. Then most important thing is in my baggage, I would say butane gas stove. It's like a small gas stove. It lasts for almost a week if you for a one person. In case you're lost or you're running out of food or something, so you can catch things, and or you can just pluck things and then cook them, and then you're sorted. Some extra clothes and a rope, yeah, a 50 feet or a 40 feet long rope, that is essential, because you never know if there would be a landslide or something ahead of you, and you have to climb down or climb up or something. So yeah, rope is again one essential. Yeah, that's it.
So that was really helpful. Next thing that I want to ask you is what technology and software do you use to enhance your photography and keep it updated? And what kind of camera gears do you prefer?
So right now I use Nikon gears, but whosoever is planning to invest in gears, let's say, I would suggest them to go with Sony gears. So the idea about behind, like, the whole thing behind choosing a right gear is you must choose a right gear for which you have a easy access to different lens rentals in a market. And second thing is your camera gear. Let's say you plan to sell your camera gear in next 1 year, then you should also get a good ROI on whatever you have already invested. So from that point, you're always safe. So I personally go with Nikon gear. So I use Nikon D750, and I do have an action camera as well. From a gear point of view, this is it. Particularly from a wildlife photography point of view, I always have a bean bag. So you don't need to actually go out and then purchase a bean bag. It will cost you a lot. You can just use a pillow cover or something and fill it up with grains, wheat. That way, that is always a cheaper option, and that helps you to stabilize your camera whenever you are in a gypsy for a photography thing. So beanbag I always carry. Then a sanitizer just to sanitize the camera. You're done with your photography day, you clean off your camera and then you sanitize it. So that will keep your camera away from molds. Then from a software point, I use Lightroom. That's a paid edition, Adobe Lightroom Creative Cloud. Why Lightroom? Because in Lightroom, whatever processing or whatever editing you do, it is a non-destructive editing. So you can just change it and it won't affect your original photograph. So with just one click you can change from one edit to different edits, and your original photograph is always intact. Because most of the competition, whether you go for international level competition, they will always ask you for your raw image photo, unprocessed and unedited. So in that way, Lightroom helps me to keep both raw as well as edited images separately, and it's very easy to use and less it consumes less memory. And the good thing is, Lightroom Creative Cloud, it comes with a cloud subscription, so you can also install an Android app, and whatever processing or whatever work you have done on your laptop, it is available for you in cloud. So you can access those things from your mobile as well. So from a shareability point of view, you can just log into your mobile app and then share those photos with your friends and family and stuff. And from a lens point of view, yes, I use 50 mm 1.8, 24 120 f4, and 70 300 f 3.5 to 5.6. For a bird photography, you need to have a really good and robust, steady tripod. So I use Benro tripods. So the heavier your gear is, the more stable tripod you will need. So again, from that point of view, Sony cameras or Sony DSLR SLT cameras, the digital single lens translucent, these cameras, they are compact, lightweight, and they're super powerful. Even if you have a good tripod, like okayish tripod, so those cameras won't give you headache.
Your insights are going to help many of us. So, you must have clicked a thousands of pictures up till now. So,
Mhm.
what is it exactly that you want to convey through your photographs, and how do you actually get your photographs to do that, to convey that?
Right. With my current nature of my job, like I have to travel to different cities or countries. So before that, it was only restricted to, wildlife photography. But when I started this wildlife photography thing, so that time I always used to uh, like click as well as observe what is going on. And then there is always the thing called like visual storytelling or I'm not able to find a particular term for that, but you can say it as a visual storytelling. So by observing the nature and then whatever thoughts, the current thoughts going on in your mind, you can relate it with your own thoughts. Find a particular, like find a proper caption and then describe a story of your thoughts going on while you were clicking those photos. Yeah, that was for wildlife. And then right now, mostly I try to, if you visit my Instagram, then I try to give a vibe of a place which I am already there, and then what kind of experiences I am having. So everything, all the activities which are going around me, I click them and then I just write a caption of my own thoughts, like the thoughts which were there in my mind while clicking those pictures.
Very true. Photography is indeed one of the best way to express. So, what motivates you to continue taking pictures economically, intellectually, and even emotionally? And how do you educate yourself to, take better pictures day by day?
I have uh, couple of handles, like couple of people to my follow, like, and those are like genuine people, like those who have done like really good or really serious things in photography. One is Ragnar Nexon, then second is Chris Buckard. So these are like two again, and then Paul Nicholson. So these are my, you can say, idols. So you go to their Instagram handles and you look at their photographs, and you will never feel like not even a single photo is an imitation of somebody else art. So that I really liked about them, and I personally try to do the same thing. I like, because these days, like, you go on Instagram and you see a lot of handles posting same photos with the same pose or editing style, that doesn't help you personally to grow on a quality style or on an intellectual side, because you are just copying it. I even with my friend, we did shoot couple of weddings as well, but that thing never clicked me. The one thing which clicked me was the commercial photography. So we did a shoot for Multifit Gym in Pune, but that thing didn't go as per our plans. So after having like these couple of these kind of experiences where you have to, listen to, or not listen, but you have to work as per the needs. So in that way there is no freedom left. You have to always look for the client's requirement. So I think that is not something which I signed up for. So photography is something is which I will always keep close with me, and this is something. The photography is something like it never gives me a feeling of that you are alone. That photography is always with me. So I am looking at photography from that point of view, to just keep it as a hobby, and then whatever comes out of it, I am more than happy to receive a recognition or something. So yeah, that answers the monetary side of it.
That was a very beautiful description of photography. There's one more thing that even I personally wonder is that even a beautiful picture can be ruined with a bad edit. So, do you think there's any limit up to which a photographer should edit a photo?
Well, it's always with a photographer. Like you would have seen some photographers editing it way too much, but I think it is very personal. Like this, that is something which they want to show. So from a personal level, I think it's up to photographer. It's always up to him how vibrant he wants or how dark he wants. Like some people, they really lack the dark edits. It's completely personal. But whenever it is from a competition point of view or a submission point of view, yes, definitely there should be a limit, and that is the reason why they always ask you a raw copy, just to check every time you click a photo. The camera actually records it as a black and white image, and then there is a RGB color sensor or a color processor. So that RGB color processor will take that black and white image and then process it, and then stores it in your memory card as a digital color JPEG image or raw image, just to make that photograph look a vibrant or a more lively. You can play around the RGB curves in photograph, and the shadows and highlights, and a little bit of vibrance or a saturation.
So it just depends upon one's perspective,
Yeah,
right?
but if you are submitting to the competitions or something, then yeah, definitely you shouldn't overdo it.
So we'll just summarize the podcast and I'll ask you some questions and you need to give quick tips on it. So ready? Basic equipments to carry in a backpack for photography.
Camera, a prime lens, 50 prime lens, then charger, uh, your the cleaning cloth, some filters if you are already using filters, and a tripod and a remote trigger. Yeah, that helps you to keep or to click time lapses, as well as astrophotography.
Yeah. So list of all the places you have visited till date.
Hampi, Chennai, Mahabalipuram, then Ladakh, all over Maharashtra, Tadoba, Chikaldera, Germany, Berlin, Scotland, London, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Belfast, Paris, Madhya Pradesh, and Agumbe. Yeah, Agumbe journey was really fascinating. So I visited this king cobra sanctuary. The Agumbe is the only king cobra sanctuary in India or in the world. So I was there with a film crew shooting for a monsoon documentary. Then Karwar, Goa, Yelapur, Konkan, yeah, almost everything. Kerala.
Two lessons that you learned from travel and photography.
Travel, I think I discovered I got out of my comfort zone. So there were few things like I I didn't know things to be in an orderly manner or something. But while doing solo travel, it's always like finding your basic needs, and then once those needs are sorted, you're good to go. So you don't need the extra things which you think you require for a good life, for a good thing. You just need a basic things, and all you need is like. I also, from that point, you can say I have become a little bit modest. And photography, I have started seeing things from a different perspective. I've started seeing a beauty in ordinary things. Yeah, I think photography has also helped me to express myself in a better way.
Lastly, three tips for young aspirants who want to pursue travel and photography.
Don't copy, be original, and travel as much as you can.
It was really fun and informative talking to you, Kartik. We got to know a lot about the technical aspects of photography, and it was great to host you. Hope you liked our show. You can give your valuable feedback and suggestion of speakers you would like us to host next by writing us on www.arttown.store. Stay tuned to our channel as we are going to come up with brand new episodes every week on Friday. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Spotify. See you soon.